All right, let's dive into a story that might just flip everything you think you know about money and success completely on its head. And here's a little spoiler. It has almost nothing to do with spreadsheets or what they teach you in finance class.
So, I want you to picture two guys. In one corner, we have Ronald Reed. He was a janitor, a gas station attendant, a humble guy from rural Vermont. And in the other corner, Richard Fuscone, a Harvard-educated, high-flying executive at Merrill Lynch. You know, the kind of guy you'd see on the cover of a business magazine.
Okay, so here's the million-dollar question. Or in this case, the multi-million-dollar question. Based on everything we're taught about success, the fancy degrees, the big job titles, the answer should be a no-brainer, right? Well, the real story here gets to the very heart of the psychology of money.
That's how much Ronald Reed, the janitor, was worth when he died. $8 million. And you're probably wondering, how in the world did he pull that off? It was shockingly simple. He just patiently invested his modest savings into solid, blue-chip stocks for decades. And then he just waited. That's it. No complicated strategies, just patience.
And what about our Harvard MBA, Richard Fuscone? He went bankrupt. He got so leveraged, borrowing a ton of money to pay for this gigantic, lavish lifestyle. Think an 18,000 square foot house with almost 6 figures in monthly upkeep. When the 2008 financial crisis hit, poof, it all vanished. And this, right here, is the core lesson. This is the whole thing. Financial success isn't really a hard science. It's a soft skill. What Ronald Reed had wasn't a genius IQ, it was brilliant behavior. And what Richard Fuscone lacked wasn't intelligence, it was the right behavior. At the end of the day, how you act is so much more important than what you know.
So, that's what we mean when we talk about the psychology of money. We like to think of finance as being like physics, with all these strict rules and laws, but it's not. It's more like, well, psychology. It's messy, it's emotional, and it's deeply, deeply human.
Okay, so let's dig into one of the most destructive behaviors of all. It's this inability to ever feel like you have enough. It's a goalpost that just keeps moving, and it's a trap that even the most successful people fall right into. I mean, just take the story of Rajat Gupta. This guy was at the absolute top of the mountain. He was the CEO of McKinsey, one of the most prestigious firms in the world. He was already worth $100 million. He had everything anyone could possibly want.
But for him, that wasn't enough. He started looking around at his peers, these hedge fund guys who were becoming billionaires, and that social comparison just started eating him alive. He had to have more.
And that obsession with getting more, money he absolutely did not need, led him to risk everything he already had. He got caught for insider trading, destroyed his reputation, and ended up in prison. He lost it all.
And Warren Buffett just nails it with this quote. Risking something you need, like your freedom or your reputation, for something you don't need, like more money when you're already rich, it's just foolish. There is no upside in the world that could possibly justify that kind of risk.
This brings us to a really crucial point, because making money is one thing, but holding on to it, that's a completely different skill. And, you could argue, it's way more important. And what's so wild is that the mindsets you need for these two things are often total opposites. Getting rich requires optimism, taking big swings. But staying rich, that requires humility, a healthy dose of fear, a little bit of paranoia that it could all disappear tomorrow. Staying wealthy is all about one thing, survival.
Let's look at another legend, Jesse Livermore. This guy was a master at getting wealthy. During the Great Crash of 1929, he made one of the most incredible trades in history and walked away with the equivalent of $3 billion in modern money. Just incredible.
But he was terrible at staying wealthy. He got so high on his own success, so overconfident, that he just kept making bigger and bigger bets. And eventually his luck ran out and he lost every single penny. That humility you need to survive, he just didn't have it.
Here's another quick story. A guy named Rick Garin was an early partner of Buffett and Munger, and Buffett himself said Garin was every bit as smart as they were. But the problem was he was in a hurry. He used a ton of debt, and when the market took a dive in the 70s, he got wiped out. He didn't survive.
So the key is developing this survival mindset. What does that actually look like? Well, first, you aim to be financially unbreakable, not just chase the biggest possible returns. Second, you have to build in a margin for error. You have to plan for your plan to not go according to plan. And third, you need to be a paranoid optimist. Be optimistic about the long term, but paranoid that the road to get there is filled with landmines. That's what keeps you in the game long enough for compounding to do its real magic.
So, if the goal isn't just more, and if survival is the name of the game, then what's the point of it all? What is the real purpose of wealth? What are we actually trying to buy with our money?
The answer, it turns out, is incredibly simple. It's not a bigger house. It's not a faster car. The single greatest thing that money can buy is control over your own time. That is the ultimate dividend.
And this isn't just some nice-sounding idea. It's backed by a ton of research. A psychologist named Angus Campbell found that feeling of being in the driver's seat of your own life, that sense of autonomy, is a more powerful predictor of happiness than your salary, your house, or your job.
This right here is the true value of your savings. It isn't just a safety net, it's a freedom fund. It's the ability to change careers if you want, to wait for a better opportunity to come along, to handle an emergency without breaking a sweat, to just spend time with people you love. That is the real return on investment.
And so that really leaves us with the ultimate question that the psychology of money forces every single one of us to answer. As you go through your own life, you have to ask yourself, is the money I have buying me more freedom, or is it just buying me more stuff? Because how you answer that question, well, that can change everything.